things are starting to obviously boil over here in Tinseltown with the Lakers. What do you expect for the Lakers to do before the deadline? Are there going to be big players in this thing, or are they just going to try and figure it out?
I mean, Key, they don't really have the ability to be big players at the trade deadline. They were big players on draft night last year when they traded for Russell Westbrook and traded assets, traded a first-round pick, and then didn't keep Alex Caruso. Didn't go deep into the luxury tax to re-sign him. And certainly they paid a price for that decision, all of those decisions. And so they're left now with not a lot of options to go out and make more dramatic change to their team. And so, listen, we talked about it yesterday. Alec Burks in New York, Dennis Schroeder in Boston. There are different, those are among the kinds of players that they've talked to teams. They've been, talking to teams all over the league, but their ability to bring back somebody who can help turn this around, make dramatic change, that's really difficult. Nothing's ever impossible. We've seen crazy things happen at the trade deadline, but the Lakers just don't have the mechanism. It's one thing to say, hey, we're not good enough. This can't go on like this. But it's another thing to really be able to do something about it. The one thing the Lakers have shown very little enthusiasm to do is trade more future first-round picks. And so we'll see if that changes today. I think certainly for, a player they think maybe could really make a significant difference, you have to consider it. But if it's just marginal differences around the edges, you can't just keep mortgaging your future. You're doubling down on maybe some suspect decisions that were already made. And I think they have shown restraint in that area so far leading up to the deadline.
Woj, is it feasible that Russell Westbrook could go to the New York Knicks? Is that a possibility?
I mean, Jay, I guess anything's possible. I have not sensed any appetite from the Knicks to do that deal. Alec Burks is a player that's been talked about with a number of teams, but including the Lakers, in multi-player, multi-team trades. I know that's one on the board for a few teams in 4-team talks with New York and the Lakers. But I know people have surmised maybe Houston, maybe New York. There's not been any discussions with the Rockets, I know, about a Russell Westbrook trade there. Eric Gordon's a player that the Lakers have interest in. Houston looks unlikely to move him today without getting a really good first-round pick. That can always change. But those are the kind of moves the Lakers have been focused on. You never know what could present itself, Jay, closer to the deadline. But the idea of someone trading for Westbrook's the rest of this year and then $47 million last year, it's really hard to trade a contract like that without getting back a similar contract. You saw Westbrook and Wall get traded for each other. And then last year there was a buildup of contracts that the Lakers did for Westbrook with Kuzma, KCP, Montrezl Harrell. But that scenario doesn't seem to be in play today.
Woj, we saw the Blazers do some, I guess, blockbuster type moves this week. What does that say, though, moving forward for not only Dame Lillard but the future of the Trailblazers?
That they wanted a very different roster. They wanted to create a lot of financial flexibility to go out and do different things, whether it's to make more trades. They've got a $21 million trade exception that you could take a significant player into. And they're going to have a ton of cap space this summer. And I know when people hear cap space, they just think free agency. Portland's not been a free agent destination. Can Dame Lillard help to recruit players to Portland? We'll see, but it's certainly going to be incumbent on him. Chauncey Billups, certainly can help play that role for the Blazers, and of course their interim GM Joe Cronin. But they wanted to reshape that roster. They felt that it had plateaued, and so they've done that. And Norman Powell, Robert Covington, CJ McCollum, are all gone. I think there's more moves they can still make before the deadline. I'm told they don't feel pressure to have to go out and get any significant part of that done today. You know, they're really looking at having a different roster for next season. I think a lot of their stuff is focused on free agency, the draft.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.